At the beginning of the film, a couple is shown riding their bikes through the woods of West Virginia. Lurking in the background is the villain known as Three Finger, silently stalking them. He waits for the right moment, then launches an arrow aimed at the guy. The arrow causes him to crash off his bike, and the girl, alarmed, rushes over to help him. Just then, Three Finger fires another arrow, this time hitting the boy right through the mouth. The girl, now terrified and confused, starts to run away. As she's riding away in a panic, she unknowingly gets caught in a hidden spiked wire trap. She crashes hard. The wire is being held by two other killers, One Eye and Sawtooth, who violently yank it upward. As she lies helpless, Three Finger arrives and brutally decapitates her. After this gruesome scene, we're introduced to Dany and Tony, who are on a trip with a group of friends. They're heading to a hotel to hang out. A few days earlier, Dany had received a letter claiming that he had inherited ownership of the hotel. The letter invited him to visit, stating they'd be happy to meet him. Excited, Dany brings his friends along for the trip. When they arrive at the hotel, the caretakers greet them, though it's clear they're not thrilled. They had expected Dany to come alone, not with a whole group. We also see an elderly woman who is in the middle of checking out of the hotel. Suddenly, out of nowhere, a flying axe hits her, killing her instantly. At the same time, the hotel caretaker, Jackson, arrives and twists the old lady's neck. She dies on the spot, marking a very unusual way to check out of the hotel. In other words, anyone who wants to check out has no choice but to die. Meanwhile, Dany and his friends were fascinated by the antique items in the hotel. They were extremely valuable, and the group was happy knowing these would eventually belong to Dany. As night falls, the hotel caretaker heads into the forest, where he meets three brothers. He scolds them for killing the old lady in such a manner. During this conversation, we also learn that these three men and Jackson are siblings. They're all brothers. In addition, the other caretaker is revealed to be their sister. The next morning, one of Dany's close friends is heading toward the hotel when she spots Jackson cleaning blood from a certain spot. It's the same place where the old lady was murdered. Disturbed, she quickly leaves without saying anything. Some of the friends head to the market to shop. There, they notice a wall covered with posters of missing people, photos of individuals who have disappeared. At that moment, the sheriff arrives and puts up another missing person poster. It's the same old lady who vanished the night before. Back at the hotel, Jackson is showing Dany a variety of weapons. Dany is impressed and picks up a crossbow. Jackson then suggests going out for a hunt, and eventually, they head into the forest together. There, they spot a deer, and Jackson starts teaching Dany how to hunt. But in reality, he was actually training him to kill humans. Jackson had a lot of dark plans in mind. While he was showing Dany how to hunt the deer, in a parallel scene, Three Finger was hunting down the sheriff. Dany kills the deer, and at the same time, Three Finger brutally kills the sheriff. Meanwhile, we see Dany's friends. Since Dany went out hunting without telling them, they were really worried, especially his close friend Tony. She was deeply concerned and sent one of her friends into the forest to look for him. When that friend enters the forest, he sees a dead deer being eaten by Sawtooth. The sight of Sawtooth terrifies him, and he starts running in panic. While running, he accidentally collides with Dany. Since he was running so fast, they both lost control and fell into a deep pit. Dany gets badly injured after getting caught in some spiked wire. He cries out for help, and Jackson arrives just in time. Jackson helps Dany out and takes him back to the resort. One of the hotel caretakers, a girl, tends to his wounds and wipes off his blood. She treats his injuries and applies medicine. Just then, Dany's close friend Tony shows up, and the caretaker, Sally, steps out. The next morning, Dany is in the bathroom and flushes all his medications down the toilet. Dany was actually a hypertension patient. He used to get anxious for no reason and needed those pills to stay calm. But after hunting the deer the day before, he threw all the meds away. It meant he had enjoyed taking a life, something he'd never experienced before. Now he felt like he didn't need the medicine anymore. During lunch, he tells his friends that he's starting to really like the resort. And now, I'll stay here and run the hotel. I'll also take care of everything. But the others don't want to stay. They want to go back. Among Dany's friends, Two were especially greedy. They knew the hotel had many antique and expensive items. So they started stealing things, and driven by greed, they wandered off exploring. Eventually, they stumbled upon a hidden area that led to the basement. Hoping to find more valuable items, they went down there, where they discovered a large ancient spa on display. While they were still down there, the other caretaker, Sally, saw them. A little while later, her three brothers arrived and struck one of the intruders on the head, knocking him out. The three brothers then brutally severed the arms and legs of the girls, killing one of them in a horrific way. They also tried to kill the boy, but Sally stopped them. She told her brothers to leave. Afterward, she took the boy to her room and smothered him with a pillow until he died. Meanwhile, Dany had changed. He stopped taking his medication and began living happily. He was never like that before. Eventually, he met the caretaker's siblings. The caretaker, Jack, said he wanted Dany to meet the rest of their family. Dany agreed. The two caretakers took him to a small village deep in the jungle where many deformed people lived. These deformed people were actually Dany's family. The caretakers gave Dany a drug and explained everything in detail. All of the deformed people were not pure-blooded because their ancestors came from different families. But Dany and Sally were pure-blooded, and if they married, their future children would be pure-blooded as well. Just like Three Finger and his brothers, they wanted to create more deformed people like themselves after getting married, so their kind could continue. Meanwhile, Dany's friend was secretly listening from behind a tree. That's when Sawtooth showed up and caught him. Dany's friend begged for help, pleading with them to let him go. But Dany pretended not to know him and coldly said, "I don't recognize him." Three Finger then hung the boy and slit his throat. Blood started pouring out. Everyone there began collecting his blood in cups, eager to drink it. But Three Finger was more concerned than the rest. He didn't want the blood to stop flowing, so he kept cutting the body further. The others seemed to enjoy drinking his blood. One of the cups was handed to Dany, and he drank his close friend's blood. The next morning, when Dany returned, his close friend Tony was horrified to see him. She begged him to leave the hotel, go to the city, go back home. But Dany refused to leave the hotel or that place. He told them, "You all go back, but I'm staying here." By now, Dany was completely addicted to the drug that Sally had given him. They all headed toward the kitchen, where they saw someone chopping up human body parts, frying them and eating them. Everyone was terrified. Before they could leave, they looked into a freezer and saw the severed head of one of their friends. Panicked, they started running, but the three brothers chased after them. Some of the friends managed to escape, but one of them got caught. They forced a pipe into his mouth and pumped in high-pressure water so much that his body shattered from the inside. Next, we see another friend who had managed to escape from Three Finger, but his foot gets caught in a bear trap. He falls to the ground and can't run anymore. The three brothers catch up to him, strike him on the head, and kill him instantly. Meanwhile, Dany's close friend Tony is searching for him. She grabs a gun and continues her search, eventually ending up in the basement spa. There, she finds Sally, and a brutal fight breaks out between them. Tony then forces the caretaker's head into the water. Tony pulls out her gun and shoots Sally. At that moment, Dany arrives, takes the gun from her, and checks on Sally to see if she's still alive. Dany then tells Tony to run away from there. As Tony is escaping, the other caretaker, Jackson, starts chasing her. They get into a fierce fight, and Tony ends up stabbing his eye with a key. She kills him so brutally that Jackson is left unrecognizable. Just as she's about to leave, Dany shows up again and points a gun at her. This reveals that Dany doesn't want Tony to survive. She knows too much about him and his family's dark secrets. Dany can't take that risk. At that moment, Three Finger and his brothers arrive. Dany chooses his family over his close friend, and as we all know, Three Finger kills Tony. The story continues, showing Dany now running the hotel and welcoming guests. But behind the scenes, people are being murdered and eaten. The final scene shows the three brothers grinding human meat, and that's how Wrong Turn 6 ends here. Let me know your thoughts. Also subscribe to this channel for more slasher stories like this.